Very dear students, my colleagues, and my audience, very warm welcome to Dr. Zia Ahmed YouTube channel. Today again, I'm going to discuss one of the chapters of the novel Twilight in Delhi, written by Professor Ahmed Ali. And we are on the second part of this novel, and today the chapter number is 5. This chapter I have specially selected because here in this chapter, a special thing is being told which became possibly the reason of the downfall of the Muslims in the history of Muslims, not only in the history of subcontinent Muslims, but also in the history of all the Muslims. And that was to make an effort to find out the way how gold can be made out of different metals. Many people were in search of that stone, that special stone by touching of which the gold could be made. So the greed to make the gold destroyed the life of so many people and the sources of so many people. And similarly, I recall here many of the texts which have been written on the same issue. For example, The Alchemist, the novel, that is also on the same issue that the hero is all the time in search of making gold and he doesn't succeed. He destroys his life, he destroys the life of so many other people, bears so many hardships, but that was not possible. However, in the end, he was able to share some pieces of gold made by the priest in that novel, Alchemist. So this craze has been there all the time. And now in this novel too, that goes to show us that the writer, Professor Ahmed Ali, was quite famous. He knew with the history of the Muslim people what they have been doing or what useless activities, what non-scientific activities they have been performing and how they wanted to accumulate as much wealth as possible. That has descended down into the human history, in the Muslim history in the subcontinent, and that is why it's being told to us in this chapter. The beauty of the chapter is that Mir Nihal, who was a very, patriarch type of person, very powerful person, and very satisfied person with his life. He had a romantic life as well. He had a very domestic, satisfied, successful life, inside and outside the home also. But that person feels very much upset when his beloved Baban Jan dies, as we read in the last chapter. Because of the death of that woman, he forgot all his hobbies, killed his, sold his pigeons, finished all his hobbies at home. And instead of remaining calm and quiet, he reverted back to his hobbies, to his desires, to his those issues and things which he wanted to do in his life. And that one of the thing was that how gold can be made. And so that is why now once again he indulges into these activities and meets so many new people, and so many new characters therefore are introduced in this novel. Let me show you the novel and the chapter that we are in here. You can see that chapter 5 is here, and that chapter 5 is starting in the same sense that after losing that beloved, he was in search of once again those medicines, alchemy, and the notebooks, the herbs, and the plants with which he can convert the basic metals into gold. And for this purpose, he had been seeking the help of these people, these fakirs, these dervishes, these babas in the past time also. Now, once again, he finds out. And one of these people, as mentioned here in the red caption, is Mir Sangi. He has been a bard in person with white hair and soft. Some of the characteristics of appearance has been told. He was helping Mir Nihal even before sometime in the preparation of gold and that alchemy. So once again, Mir Sangi appears. And another one is the red beard, because his beard was red of color. This person was also helpful to Mir Nihal in finding these things. So that is why these two persons have been talked in the beginning. Another one, the third one, is Maulvi Dulhan, and that is the bride of God. Possibly he's prepared like that, wearing all the time. We are told he's wearing the bangles, he's having long hair like a woman, and colorium in his eyes, and oil in his hair, and scented things. He was like a bride. That is why his name was Maulvi Dulhan. Now Mir Sangi, as in the last page, then it is Redbeard, and after that Maulvi Dulhan. These are three people which are mentioned here, who first of all would meet Mir Nihal and would revive their passion in order to find out gold. They would help him, they would tell him, but never would they would come across in any concrete dimension of making up the gold, and they would all the time blame something or the other that this thing has happened, otherwise the gold could have been made. And in order to search for this gold, making herbs and the plants, many things have been searched out, many places are searched out by Mir Nihal and by his people. Before him, the writer tells us that many people destroyed their money, many people destroyed their sources with which they could have developed and conducted business in order to become successful people in the world, but they could not. They wasted all their money in doing that. And Mir Nihal is doing the same thing. Possibly he is very much upset, very much disturbed because of all that, and that's why he is in search of finding some herbs, and wherever these people are telling him about the herbs and the plants and the things which he can find out. There is another person who is told to be a person very successful in these arts, and this person is called as Kambal Shah. Kambal Shah, that is with the blanket he's all the time taking. He's not wearing, special clothes. He's all the time having a tahmad or loin cloth, and then he was having a kind of cover on his body, and he was called therefore Kambal Shah. Kambal Shah is also famous in the search for the plants and herbs for the gold, and he would definitely take Mir Nihal to certain places, the mountains especially, where these things could be found. And that is why one of the passages says, yes, it is in this mysterious way that God reveals himself, but we are blind and fail to recognize him. If all of us knew the secret of making gold, there would be no rich and no poor. We would all be proud, and in our vanity we would forget God. That is why it's never good to meddle in his affairs and try to know the mysteries of life. It's best to accept things and be content. So on the one hand, this type of contentment is being advocated to Mir Nihal and to other people, but on the other hand, he is also given some inspiration also that he should go in order to find out. The reality is that, which we have read in the past paragraph, however, people continue to find the things with which they can make gold. Same is the case with Mir Nihal. He's been spending his money, his sources, visiting different areas of the world in order to find out where he can have gold. And sometimes we are told that Jame Masjid is very famous, where some prescription is written but the last line is incomplete, and that's why it's not never possible for anyone to find out where the gold is going to be. But this thing is going on in this chapter, and the writer has tried to highlight that the fakirs and the darwishes and the maulvis, these people who are otherwise not conversant at all with any kind of degree of alchemy or chemistry or any kind of metals, they were giving that advice. Now perhaps Mir Nihal's faith was that kind of faith that he could depend on these people in order to know what is happening, what kind of discoveries can be made, and ultimately how the gold can be constructed. He would follow everyone who would say to him, and after each experiment the failure was there, and that's why ultimately Mir Nihal was satisfied by thinking that he cannot get gold, cannot make alchemy, but however he tried so we can see here another side of Mir Nihal, that he was trying to become an alchemist also. He was trying to make gold also. It may not be for the sake of wealth, but possibly it may be, but it is in order to show that I can do great things, I can change the things as they are. So that confidence that was heightened by these people who supported him, these fakirs and maulvis and dervishes. So in the end, he is satisfied that the gold cannot be made. So that chapter has been included to reflect to the desire of the most of the people in history, that they wanted to construct gold. They wanted to make gold out of metal. They were in search of the stone that could convert by its touch. It could convert the iron into, for example, gold. But this thing could never happen. So that's why the search is going on. So that reflects partly human greed, that reflects human curiosity, and then also it reflects one of the sides of Mir Nihal, how he tried to indulge in these things in order to save himself from the anxiety and tension which he was having because of his failure of preventing Asghar's marriage. And definitely he is also thinking and is very sad because of the death of Mir Babanda. So that is the all story of this chapter number 5. Hopefully you have enjoyed. So if so, do not fail to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Give your comments sometime if you want to. I may be coming back. So in some next video, of course. Before that, keep happy, keep peaceful, keep loving. That's all from me. Hope to see you again.